419 Mindsets of a Scammer. This is an educational project that teaches about numerous methods scammers, fraudsters uses upon their victims, and also it helps to create public awareness of preventive measures that can be taken to protect themselves from being a victim of scammers. AwarenessX is your first line of defense against scams. What is maternity scam? Maternity fraud refers to a situation in which an individual falsely claims to be pregnant or exaggerates the extent of their pregnancy in order to gain certain benefits, accommodations, or advantages that are typically provided to pregnant individuals. This type of fraud can take various forms, and the motivations behind it can vary. Some common examples and motivations include: if you suspect maternity fraud or have concerns about its occurrence, it's advisable to consult with legal authorities or relevant organizations to address the issue appropriately. Types of maternity fraud. Maternity fraud can manifest in various forms, depending on the specific circumstances and motivations of the individuals involved. Here are some common types of maternity fraud. False pregnancy. In this type of fraud, an individual falsely claims to be pregnant when they are not pregnant at all. They may mimic pregnancy symptoms, provide false medical documentation, or engage in deceptive behavior to convince others of their pregnancy. Exaggerated pregnancy. Some individuals may exaggerate the extent of their pregnancy to gain more benefits or attention. For example, they might claim to be further along in their pregnancy than they actually are to extend maternity leave or receive additional accommodations. Fake births. Maternity fraud can extend to the birth itself. In some cases, individuals may falsely report the birth of a child that does not exist, often for the purpose of obtaining financial or legal benefits related to childbirth. Adoption fraud. This type of fraud involves misrepresenting one's pregnancy status or involvement in an adoption process. For instance, someone might claim to be pregnant and considering adoption to deceive potential adoptive parents or adoption agencies. Surrogacy fraud. In surrogacy arrangements, maternity fraud can occur when a surrogate mother falsely claims to be the biological mother of the child she is carrying, concealing the fact that the child is biologically related to another couple or individual. Insurance fraud. Some individuals may commit maternity fraud to exploit insurance benefits. They might falsely claim maternity-related medical expenses or childbirth costs to receive insurance reimbursements to which they are not entitled. Immigration fraud. In cases involving immigration, maternity fraud can occur when an individual falsely claims to be pregnant or to have given birth to a child as a means of gaining citizenship or immigration status for themselves or family members. Employment fraud. Employees may engage in maternity fraud by falsely asserting pregnancy to take advantage of maternity leave, accommodations, or job protections provided to pregnant workers. This can place an undue burden on employers and co-workers. Financial assistance fraud. Some individuals commit maternity fraud to obtain financial assistance from government programs or charitable organizations meant to support expectant mothers or families with newborns. How to avoid being a victim of maternity fraud. Avoiding becoming a victim of maternity fraud requires vigilance, awareness, and taking proactive steps to protect yourself or your organization. Here are some tips to help you avoid falling victim to maternity fraud. Verify information. When dealing with individuals who claim to be pregnant or involved in maternity-related matters, such as surrogacy or adoption, verify their information carefully. Request official documentation, medical records, and legal paperwork to confirm their claims. Consult professionals. Seek advice from professionals, such as attorneys, medical experts, or adoption agencies, to guide you through pregnancy-related processes. These experts can help you navigate complex legal and medical matters and identify potential signs of fraud. Background checks. For employers, consider implementing background checks as part of the hiring process to confirm an applicant's pregnancy status if it's relevant to the job. Ensure that you adhere to legal requirements and anti-discrimination laws when doing so. Maintain documentation. Keep thorough records of all maternity-related transactions, agreements, and communications. Documentation can serve as evidence in case of disputes or fraud allegations. Educate yourself. Familiarize yourself with the laws and regulations related to maternity benefits, surrogacy, adoption, and immigration in your jurisdiction. Knowing the rules can help you identify red flags. Be cautious online. Be skeptical of online claims of pregnancy or maternity-related situations, especially on social media. It's easy for individuals to create false personas and stories on the internet. Report suspected fraud. If you suspect maternity fraud, report it to the appropriate authorities, such as law enforcement, immigration authorities, or relevant agencies. Reporting can help prevent further fraud and protect others from falling victim. Check references. When dealing with surrogacy or adoption agencies, request references and thoroughly check the agency's reputation and history. Reputable agencies have a track record of ethical practices. Know your rights. If you're an employee, familiarize yourself with your maternity-related rights and benefits under employment laws. Knowing what you are entitled to can help you identify potential fraud in the workplace. Trust your instincts. If something seems too good to be true or raises suspicions, trust your instincts. Investigate further, ask questions, and seek legal advice if necessary. Educate employees. If you are an employer, consider providing training and resources to employees on recognizing maternity fraud and how to report it without fear of retaliation. With the rise of social media, some people use maternity fraud as a way to garner attention, sympathy, or gifts by falsely claiming pregnancy or sharing fabricated pregnancy updates online. Conclusion. It's important to emphasize that maternity fraud is not only unethical but also often illegal, depending on the jurisdiction and the specific circumstances. Legal consequences can include fines, imprisonment, and damage to one's reputation. If you suspect maternity fraud or are a victim of it, it's advisable to report the situation to the appropriate authorities or seek legal advice.